Recognize the gentleman, Mr. Olson from Texas, for 5 minutes.
I thank the chair. Mr. Joyce, my first question is for you. At the first, I want to thank you for being part of the economic engine that drives America, small business.
It's my pleasure.
In your testimony, you said that the environmental regulations have cost your family business upwards of $150,000. How many more people could you hire if you didn't have that excessive cost? And more importantly, how many of your current jobs are at risk right now if greenhouse gas regulations become law?
We could hire 2 additional people if we weren't doing those tasks required of us to do. But our bigger concern is the uncertainty and the misinformation surrounding what's going on with the EPA regulations currently. And we are so concerned because right now they're starting big, but we know that will back up, and we understand the difficulty of permitting projects even at the state level. So every time something makes a project difficult, it makes it harder to get it financed. It's very difficult to finance them now. So we think more and more projects theoretically could be taken off the table. We have great concern about that. But our bigger concern is, and my concern as a citizen, is we are in an energy crisis. And we need to look at every single option out there to create more energy. And, you know, again, I said I hung my hat on green energy, and we do a lot in that arena. But it doesn't work without new coal plants, without new nuclear plants, without creating additional energy, because we're still birthing babies, we're still graduating people from college, we're still building houses, and we want to be a manufacturing factor. So I sit here and think to myself, where is the outrage? Where is the outrage in that the Chinese are going to corner the energy market sooner or later? And we are not taking steps to create power now. And electricity is a key piece of it. And I want to see our nation look at ways to get every option on the table now. And that's our concern.
Yes, sir. What we call up here the all-above plan. Thank you for that answer, sir. Mr. Montgomery, question for you, sir. EPA Administrator Jackson often touts the creation of jobs by implementing new green control technologies. You've been in this field for about 40 years. Will the mandate to comply with greenhouse gas regulations produce a net job growth here in the United States, as Administrator Jackson claimed? Yes or no?
No.
Want to elaborate on that?
Okay. It will certainly produce a shift. It will produce a shift of resources and industrial activity toward producing that pollution control equipment, but it will be taking those resources away from producing other things that people demand and contribute to our standard of living. It's not to say it might not be worth it if you judge that the benefits are large enough, but it is clearly going to be a cost. At best, it is going to involve moving people from one kind of job to another, not creating net new jobs. But on top of that, it's going to be a drag on productivity growth and investment, which is going to slow the rate of growth in the economy overall. And this has been something that has been seen by economists who have studied this going all the way back to work that Jorgensen and Wilcoxon did 20 years ago, looking at the effect of the Clean Air Act amendments themselves. They found that, yes, there were some industries that were doing quite well producing that pollution control equipment, but the regulations were essentially a tax on capital investment. So it slowed down capital investment. It reduced the growth in worker productivity because, unlike the Luddites who do green job studies, we actually know from looking at history that the primary driver of productivity growth is increasing capital investment to make workers more productive. So all of those processes are slowed down by the higher costs that are imposed on the economy by the regulations. So that overall, there's a depressing effect on our rate of growth, and internally there's some shuffling around of jobs from doing one thing to doing another.
So no new green technologies. Thank you for that answer. And my final question is going to be for Mr. Carey. Mr. Carey, coal provides about 45% of our electric power. If the EPA's regulations were to go forward as planned, from what your testimony earlier today, that's about 75 gigawatts that are at risk?
Within that range, Congressman.
How would we replace the capacity of the coal industry?
That's a 64,000, not gigawatt question, but $64,000 question, Congressman. There is no way.
Any idea how many jobs it's going to cost us?
Well, if we're looking at a 70% reduction in the amount of coal, it's a 70% reduction in the amount of coal jobs with a multiplier of 10, so we're in the hundreds of thousands.
Thank you for that answer.